Good morning. Don Keith on the Diary of a Psychotic video blog. This video blog is brought to you by Granger Supply. Got it? Get it? Good. Now, I'll tell you something that's going to blow your mind. I was looking at a picture of Mount Rushmore, and I decided to study the 4 presidents that are on Mount Rushmore. So I started with Teddy Roosevelt. Now, Teddy Roosevelt was always thought of as a conservative Republican. I mean, in most circles. But he wasn't. He was a progressive Republican. And I'm like, what? Huh? I'm like, yeah. What political party you belong to doesn't mean whether you're progressive or conservative. It never did. And I'm like, what? Yes. I'm like, it's true. It's true. You can look all this stuff up. I scrapped all my research and I looked up the DNC and the GOP and I studied their histories. It's mad evolution in politics. You don't know what's happening until it starts happening, and then it's already over. Yeah, that's what politics is like. I ran for a congressional district seat, and I had no idea that this was the way things are and why I didn't get elected. I lost because I don't know the history of being a conservative or a progressive. Now, the conservatism and progressivism is dictated by the constituency, the people that you represent. So if you're going and representing being a progressive, you better make damn sure that the people you're trying to run for office for are progressives too. Doesn't matter what your label is, Republican or Democrat, which is what happened with those 4 men on Mount Rushmore. Theodore Roosevelt got elected twice in 2 separate elections because he was a progressive. All right? And he cared about things like the land, the environment, people, and, I don't know, bloodshed. I mean, he said talk softly but carry a big stick because he knew the enemies of the United States were looking for an opening of weakness. So he projected strength, although he cared very deeply about everything. Now, let's talk about Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln was a progressive. Yeah, abolish slavery. Hold the Union back together. All right? The South is wrong. They were all Democrats. They were conservative Democrats who tried to make states sovereign, and they wanted individual rights to take precedence over everything. We had a constitution to do that, okay, which is why you're Mirandized if you get arrested and you get representation. And you start involving all this legal jargon. But Abe Lincoln was a progressive Republican. Now let's talk about Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson was what you called a Whig. W-H-I-G, a Whig. That was a party back then. All right? Thomas Jefferson, yes, he was a slave owner, but he was a progressive thinker. He framed the Constitution, and he helped frame the Constitution, and he also helped write the Declaration of Independence. Now, I've always wondered why John Adams is not on Mount Rushmore. Because John Adams was a staunch supporter of the Crown all the way up until he wrote the Declaration of Independence and realized that his family was only 1 mile away from the most powerful army in the world. So in desperation, he helped write the Declaration of Independence because he knew there was no other way that the colonies would survive. He was a conservative. In modern days, he'd be a Republican. He wouldn't be moved on a lot of stuff, but I'd still put him on Mount Rushmore. Okay? Now, let's go to George Washington. Quiet farmer from Virginia. All right? Just wanted to be left in peace. Grow his crops, take care of his people. Some of his people were slaves, yeah, okay. But he just wanted to be left in peace. All right? He was a hero from the French Indian War. He'd seen bloody battle, men die in combat, left, right, and center. And he was a colonel when he separated from the English army. He just wanted to be left in peace. He didn't want to see war anymore. But he did. He wasn't afraid to shirk from a fight. Okay, yeah, I'd say he was a Republican, but he was a quiet progressive Republican. All right, a moderate. Those four men on Mount Rushmore, they did a lot for this country. Three of them Republicans, and one of them a Federalist. A Federalist meant that he believed in a strong federal government. That'd be George Washington. And Thomas Jefferson, a Whig, he formed the Democratic Republican Party. That's right, it was called the Democratic Republican Party. Okay? Because he didn't want to be a Whig, which John Adams was, his friend. They both died on Independence Day. And one of them's not on Mount Rushmore. I think that's sad. But anyway, I digress. Don't be quick to label somebody a conservative if they say they're a Republican. And don't be quick to call them a progressive if they're a Democrat. Let their politics prove what they do. Okay? And make sure when you're going into the voting booth, you know who you're voting for. Okay? This guy's representing you or not. Okay? You're the constituency. You're the one who decides. All right. The school's out. You're all dismissed. All right? This is Don Keefe, the Diary of a Psychotic, video blog, brought to you by Granger Supply for the ones who get it.